It's 1:34. Thank you for waiting for me. I apologize for adjusting the time. I know I have a bad habit of doing that, but as you guys know, I'm sure it's the same in your life. It's one thing after another, and I know all the other content creators especially get it, right, Mark? Um, so harsh, of course, tough anytime, but this time of year, sending prayers to your sis and family. Yeah, with Thanksgiving coming up next week. I'm very emotional. Not because of that, but because of the Caitlin Armstrong verdict. You guys see that? Biatch was found guilty in 2 hours yesterday. Very, very happy about that. But we'll get into it. There's other things around it that I'm really upset about. But I first want to check in with my people, go through all the routine. Please hit that like button. Um, and everything I say is simply an opinion of my own, nobody else's, unless someone concurs, of course. My opinions change as information changes, as my mood changes, as the wind blows, those things happen. So I like to explore ideas. I like to learn. I like to be open minded. And I love taking this journey together. So thank you guys so much for being here, supporting the channel, supporting freedom of speech, freedom of thought, all that amazing stuff. And all my videos to date have been made for YouTube, and we all know it's an entertainment platform. So, Mark, rock on. I caught the entirety of the live of Kenny's that you were on. I think it was the night before last. And you guys really did some amazing work. I'm going to put a link to it in my description. Um, and you guys know Crime Watch with Kenny is amazing. Mark is amazing. They're freaking evil twins, or actually not evil twins, they're just twins. A brother from another mother, right? Anyway, they had an amazing discussion the night before last, and Shan was in the chat. um, I am so happy that I was able to catch all of it. It was broken up though into a couple of pieces, so I might have to go back and re-listen. Just so people know, I think the beginning of it is a lot of, just like greeting and kind of talking, which is what people do, not just here on YouTube, not just at dinner parties, but that's what lawyers do too, you guys, in case you didn't know. That's how it always starts in the hallways at the beginning of any hearing or any trial. It's sort of like the dog sniffing booty kind of thing. They walk up to each other, they greet each other. How's the wife? How's the kids? How's your golf game? And there's a lot of chit chat for like, I don't know, way too long, like 10 minutes, maybe, give or take. It's mandatory. It's absolutely freaking mandatory. You do not go into the courtroom without doing that first. So all of these people in that industry are on a friendly basis with each other. At least they pretend, right? They try to play nice. And it's just, common courtesy. I don't know. Anyway, I noticed on my video yesterday, I did it forever and ever and ever. It was like almost an hour and a half video, and it was like the first 35 minutes, I was just doing a lot of talking, chatting, just chitty chat chat, as some of our favorites like to say, Shan. Um, and I think that that can be great. I'm sure it can be super frustrating for somebody who doesn't care about any of that and they just want the dirt. And at the same time, it's like we all have to be patient. This is a process. This is not like you tune in, you get the answer and you're done. I mean, that's what mainstream media is for, right? This is a process and we're all learning together, we're all growing together. We really have kind of bonded in a really artificial yet organic kind of goofball internet way, right? We're like cyber family friends kind of thing. I mean, it sounds goofy AF, and it is goofy AF, but I think it's true. Like, I feel like I know Susan Dodge and Mark Molina and Harsh Shelley. Um, all my mods and all my regulars. I would imagine you guys kind of feel like you know me, and I feel like you do because I try to just be my true authentic self and nothing else. So I've got some cases that I want to freaking dive right into because I don't want this to be like the longest live that I've done. I want it to be probably about an hour-ish. That's kind of normal for mine, right? I want to talk about Kylie first because I also caught the rest of Squirrels on Fire's live from the night before last, where MC was on the panel. No disrespect, but give me a freaking break. Give me a flippin' break. Anybody who watched it, I would imagine, would agree. And I would imagine even that person, MC, would agree. Like, she was being an absolute joke. Like, she was stating that she was coming on there to answer questions, and she did none of that. Even when she was pretending to, she did zilch. Dodging the bullet. Oh, I'm so confused. What's my name again? And everybody changed their last name to Cole. It was really cute. So I'm going to put a link to Shan's video too, because I guess that one content creator is like saying that she has 6 kids or 35 kids or 300 kids. So all of the people in the chat and on panel were changing their last name to Cole. So it was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And she got a chuckle out of it too. I thought that was neat. Seriously. You gotta just roll with it. But what I didn't appreciate was her, I felt like, really wasting everyone's time again. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it like I see it. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Kylie's case, of course. I want to talk about Mo Wilson, and I'm ecstatic that the jury came to a verdict so quickly so that her family didn't have to sweat bullets and lose sleep overnight. But I'm devastated at the same time because I don't think that that's all of the justice that Mo Wilson deserves for losing her life. I think the dirt bag that was involved, the guy, hopefully he's got something coming because he's a real POS in my humble opinion. And so is the criminal defendant, and so is her lawyer. But we'll get into all that. I want to touch on Idaho 4, and then I really want to talk about Maui. So let's get on with it. Why bother, Mark Molina? Exactly. I wish I could highlight that. Exactly. That woman, person, thing, pile of dog mess was wasting everybody's time again. And Shan puts in such hard work and long hours, and ain't nobody got time for that. Like, why is she wasting her own time? I was so glad when Shan just basically hung up on her. Come on. That was insane. I don't know what time of the night it was, like 1 in the morning. She's like, I'm going to drive over to my parents' house right now and ask them this question because Shan had found out that possibly the Coles are related to, um, I don't have the names right in front of me. The Mark, you can probably help me. The one who was manhandling the steering wheel when they were pulling Kylie's car out of the water. Her name starts with an F, her last name. Um, I know that you guys know. Yeah, Kenny Cole, exactly. That's her job. Susan Dodge, thank you for the common sense. Oh my goodness. So is it Fricker? Is that the woman who was manhandling the steering wheel? And then the Novaks. So Frickberg, thank you guys. You're the best. I love that I can ask you guys these things in real time. So Dawn and Susan and Make a Pints, you guys rock. Yes, Frickberg. There you go. Um, so Frickberg's related to the Novaks, or she was a Novak before she got married. And so there's like a Larry and a Lenny Novak that one MC says is not a blood relative. The other one, she was like waffling, he is, he isn't, Lenny, Larry. She did a lot of the speaking out of both sides of the mouth, and no, I've never heard of these people. Oh, wait, yeah, that's like my dad's best friend. Oh, wait, no, that's my godparent. Oh, wait, it was just like typical, absolutely typical. And like Susan Dodge said, isn't that her job? So the Novaks and the Frickbergs are related, and the Novaks are related to the Coles. So Frickberg, I mean, anyway, like I said, I'll put a link to Shan's video. It is kind of a long one. I think it's about 2.5 hours. And again, it kind of starts out slow, and then I think that last hour is where a lot of the meat of it is. But if you have trouble squeezing the time into your day, I'd say put it on 1.5 speed. Sometimes 2 speed is way too fast, especially with somebody like myself or Shan who tends to talk quickly. With both of us, sometimes I'll hear us talking and I'll think, is that on double speed? And it's not. So, I think because we know that people are pressed for time, we're trying to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. And then sometimes, myself included, some people take a long time to say things. So they're thinking, they're stopping, they're speaking slowly. And that's when putting it on time and a half can really help you get through a longer thing. But you guys know this. You don't need me to teach you these things, do you? But I'm happy to help if you want the advice. Unsolicited advice is stupid, right? I was like, oh, MC family has a secret. I was like, MC needs to ask in private what WTAF. No wonder why her family wants off social media. Truth for Kylie. So, for those who don't know, because I'm keep interrupting my sentences, she was driving over to her parents' house at about 1 in the morning, I think that's what time it was. Maybe it was midnight. I don't know exactly because I was already asleep. So, Shan did not want to be on that long. She wanted to get to sleep too. And Megan was just insisting that she was going to go ask them herself because she was so confused she couldn't figure it out. And her story just kept changing. And Shan did a really good job of just kind of waiting her out because in a situation like that, you don't want to let someone off the hook by offering suggestions like, oh, well, maybe you're confused because this, that, or the other. Don't give them the opportunity to go, oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks. Just give them time to like sweat the freaking bullets because they'll tell on themselves. And especially when they're saying one thing 1 minute and then another thing the next. And so as she was en route to her parents' house and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in my car. I'm there. Okay, no, I'm a block away." And Shan was just like, "I'm done. I'm going to sleep. Bye." She was like, "You can put it on your channel." And um the whole live, I thought that Shan was doing a very good job of being cordial, and MC was doing a one of the best jobs that I've seen of her being cordial. That's not her forte. But I don't want to be insulting to anybody either. I just want the effing truth for Kylie. I think that's all any of us want. So she came on there saying, I'm going to answer questions and be truthful. And she was anything but. She didn't answer questions and she wasn't truthful. It was just the same old, same old. And none of us need to keep going down that freaking garden path. I mean, what a joke. Um, you know, she was presenting herself as, you guys can ask me specific questions and I will answer them to the best of my ability. And people did ask her very specific questions, and some she answered and some she ignored. And most of what I saw, in my opinion, she gave the same old roundabout answers. And I'm sorry, I'm missing a lot of your comments here. I often gave to show it was down on Tsunamis videos. Why no boys' names in the law enforcement reports or or news reports? Maybe all those boys are the ones that are related to law enforcement, right? Like Nate and his dad, who's the sheriff, allegedly. Truckee and California are a few hours ahead of me. I don't know what time it was, but Shan tried to tell her not to do it. She'll never learn truth for Kylie, and MC wouldn't tell us the truth if she knew it. Oh, I think she does know it, actually. I think she does. And yeah, she's doing her job of confusing things and muddying the water. She said that she knows what they did to Kylie, and then that was one of the questions that Shan really pressed her on is, can you elaborate on what you meant by that statement? And she kind of did the what statement? Could you ask the question again? Could you rephrase the question? I don't remember. I mean, these are the same things people do when giving testimony on a witness stand. Same old tricks. I don't remember. Um, Rephrase the question. I'm confused. Typical, 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 typical. So, yeah. What did you mean by that? What I mean by what? Um, just I don't want to miss your stuff here too. Don't bother with her. Yeah, Hogan's Heroes Schultz. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I mean, I used to tell Shan that that was when we kind of went our different ways for a while because I was just like, I don't know why you waste your time, but I was also like, you do you, and good luck with that. And I think that she did get a lot of information and headway. But what a frustrating mess, and still trying to sift through things and put things together. So, first of all, MC said she knows what they did to Kylie. So, right there, they did something to Kylie. And then she tried to backpedal, of course, and say, I don't know what I meant by that, and I didn't mean anything by that, and I don't know what that means, and nothing happened. And I mean, let's talk about the fights, okay? Let's talk about the whole theme with the Fight Club, because when people are disappeared, and then you need to talk to the last people that spoke to them and saw them, and then you really need to speak to the people who had an argument with them or a disagreement with them or who they were not on good terms with. Those are always the people that you want to focus on. So, Scammy may or may not have had a Fight Club match with Kylie, but it sure seems like she did. Like, that is said again and again by people like MC, that, yeah, she did. And then it's unsaid. Oh, wait, no. What was I talking about? Who? Nah, they were just slap fighting. Um, let's see. Hogan's Hero, yeah. She dodged that one. Yeah, and again, that is good information right there. Just how freaking dodgy she is. And gamey. That's the word I like to use. That's a good word in psychiatric psychobabble and in legalese. Cagey and gamey. Those are your two words for MC. Let's all take note. Cagey and gamey. That's what she is. That's completely psycho. She's gamey AF, cagey AF. That says it all. That's your information right there. That's your bottom line. She is very telling because she cannot answer direct questions. Well, and she says, "Okay, I'll answer it," and then she talks in circles. And yeah, I was amazed that I was able to listen to the whole thing, because I literally sometimes I just can't. I just can't. I'll try and I'm like, "God, you gotta hit stop." Let's see. FBI grab MC and Sammy. Well, Scammy, yeah, see, Scammy's parents work with them. They're like attorneys and private investigators for government contracts. So they know all these people. They're friends. I'm sure they go to the Christmas parties together. They probably go on vacations together. They're probably in all kinds of um, illicit business dealings together with the water rights, with um, the growth operations. I mean, I can only imagine. And when shady people have shady dealings, they have dirt on each other. So, they kind of own each other. They can't turn on each other because if one turns on one, the other can throw them under the bus too. So, getting here at the end, we'll do replay. Hello, everyone. Oh, you know what, Sherry? It's not the end. We're just kind of starting out. So we're just kind of getting to the end of the Kylie part. But yeah, we're only 20 minutes in, and I'm sure today will be at least an hour. Um, so yeah, I don't know what else to say other than reading a few more of your comments before we get on with it to the Mo Wilson um, terrible, terrible fatal shooting that was she was 25 and it was man, when was it? Was it a year and a half ago that it happened? It's so hard to keep it all straight, and it usually takes about that long for a case to go to trial. Like the case that I mentioned yesterday, the two teenage boys in Iowa who unalived, uh, beat fatally beat their Spanish teacher. Um, they were just convicted and just sentenced, I think, in the last few days. So that happened in 2021. So now they're 18, but they were tried as adults and good. And then those 8 teenagers that were have been recently arrested for that, and that one was Las Vegas. Again, I mentioned it yesterday. I was kind of confusing the two. So the 8 teenage boys, 8 of the 10 have been arrested. Maybe they have 9 of the 10 by now that fatally beat a fellow classmate who was 17. And these 8 or 9 boys that they arrested, the 10 boys that they have videotape of them all doing it, range in age from 14 to 18. It might have even been 13 to 18. But whatever it was right after school or it's right around the corner from school. It's all on videotape. They all had their faces covered because, they live in Vegas. They know that there's videotape cameras, surveillance cameras everywhere. But artificial intelligence can recognize you from your gait. The artificial intelligence doesn't even need to see your face. It knows who you are with no face. So that child was beaten to death over some AirPods or earbuds, and maybe a THC vape or something like that. And the one who was fatally beaten, the fight wasn't even against him, it was against another guy, and he was trying to help protect this other kid. And then they just opened a can of whoop ass on him, and that's a new case. The Breonna Taylor case is back in court. Anyway, it's so confusing. There's so many places where justice is lacking. Um, and how do you find justice, like when 2 high school boys do that to the Spanish teacher? How in the world do you find justice? Like, unbelievable. I have no idea what prompted that. I don't know if it's even part of the trial. I would imagine that it is. I only caught wind of it from the case coming to a conclusion, and I was just like, "How did this happen 2 years ago?" And I didn't notice the Fairfield, Iowa one, the 66-year-old Spanish teacher. two 16-year-old defendants. Well, they're convicts now and they're 18. And they're going to have, right? I mean, 18-year-old convicts, that's not a pretty picture. That's not where you want to be. Trust me. I know. I barely know. I mean, I've been in jail facilities to do psychiatric evaluations. Not fun. Not fun, even when you're just there to do a quick psychiatric evaluation and, get paid piles of cash for it. Not a fun experience. Most people that have that opportunity would say, no, thank you. I'm good. You can keep the money. I mean, just unbelievable. Um, so I don't know why everything went so dark right behind me. I think my thing fell. And then, of course, something in my eye simultaneously. You guys, Murphy's Law is working alive and well. Anyway, let's stay focused. Let's talk about the Mo Wilson case some more. And maybe I should take a quick drink of water so I don't get a tickle in my throat. Do it proactively. Let's see. It's okay to stop. Life matters, people. You don't have the right. Parents should be held more accountable. Mark, I agree. So you don't have actual biological children, which I don't think is very material. I honestly don't. I have four biological children. In some ways, yeah, it teaches you more and it makes you wiser, but in other ways, it's neither here nor there. You're just as knowledgeable as an adult, as a responsible citizen. Yeah, people need to be held accountable. And this is why, in the Mo Wilson case, I feel like uh, the the love interest of the criminal defendant and of the deceased is not being held accountable, um, and that he needs to be. That there's just no way he should go without being charged with some type of accountability, accomplice, accessory, before, during, or after the fact, at the very least. At the very least. So, him and the criminal defendant, they had. I mentioned to you guys how he had loaned her $300,000. So I wonder what he's thinking now that she's convicted. I bet his first thought isn't about Mo Wilson, the beautiful young woman's life that he completely sabotaged and had everything to do with it becoming ended, in my opinion. I doubt he gives a crap about her family. It's all about him. And him and freaking that criminal defendant, they were made for each other because that's how they both are designed. Um, so I would imagine that his first thought is, oh man, I'm never going to see my $300,000 now if she's in jail, which is probably why he was being so squirrely during the trial and trying to kind of protect her. Yeah, she's not a crazy, jealous psycho. No, not at all. I've dated far crazier, more jealous psychos, which, I think he really brings it out in people because he can't keep his freaking thing in his freaking pants. Man, and he ain't no prize, ladies. I mean, Mo could do quite a bit better. And I would almost say the same thing for the criminal defendant, but she obviously is as creepy and worthless as him, if not even more so. A match made in HE double hockey sticks, in my opinion. I'm really upset about the verdict because I'm afraid that with the one person being convicted, that lets everybody else potentially off the hook. I hope I'm wrong. I'm sure that he can get sued for wrongful death by Mo's family, and I hope they do. Maybe there's charges already that I don't know about. But they had their trailer refurbishing business, and that's a crafty idea. That's interesting. Basically buying trashy trailers and flipping them. So, you can look at it like it's a cool way of recycling and being creative, and you could also look at it like, you know, just being sleazy and trashy. I don't know if that's the business that he loaned Caitlin Armstrong the 300 grand for, or if it was another business, because she was like a yoga princess too, which, man, it makes it embarrassing to even be thinking about doing yoga when you've got somebody like that as some kind of globe-trotting yoga expert slash unaliver. Unreal. Anyway, those two made the match made in HE double hockey sticks. They also had a lawsuit against them for some real estate dealings. I've just learned this overnight. And then there was also some vandalism on their property. So it seems like they have a lot of friends, right? Like the crap they pulled with getting Mo Wilson into their web of lies is just tip of the iceberg, probably. So I also, before moving on to the Idaho 4 and the Maui case, I want to make mention of the criminal defendant's attorney, who, in his closing argument, I'll try to put links to both of the closing arguments in the description. I hope I don't overcommit myself to all my links. I've been getting better lately, actually doing them like as quickly as possible. Um, so the closing arguments yesterday, and then 2 hours after the closing arguments is when the jury had their verdict in, guilty. Guilty as charged. That freaking defense attorney, it was about 21 minutes in, I'll put the timestamp in the description, where he's trying to defend his client, and he literally says, blah, blah, blah. And it's a kind of a key, crucial moment. Like, I literally had to stop it and replay it. Like, did it just sound like he said blah, blah, blah? Or did he actually say blah, blah, blah in his closing argument? Like, he knew everything he was saying was a bunch of BS. Like, he should have just said blah, blah, blah the whole freaking time. Blah, 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 wah, 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 like Charlie Brown. Anyway, I don't know how people like that live with themselves. I don't. I don't know how they sleep at night. I don't know how they look at themselves in the mirror without, like, spitting in their own eye. but hey, who am I, right? I mean, we all make mistakes, right? We can all do better. That's what I was trying to say to you. Said it better. Guess I need to review the Mo Wilson case. I'm not up on it. It's such a sad case. I mean, she's such a delightful young woman. She was such a delightful young woman. And then to add insult to injury, Caitlin Armstrong is the one who was convicted yesterday of shooting her. But the gun that she shot her with was bought for her by Colin Strickland. Literally. Like 2 months before it happened. She was shot in May. He bought her the gun in March. Like, I really think that there was some information that Mo was privy to that Colin didn't want her to be, and that he might have used Caitlin as his vehicle to take care of the problem. Maybe. Allegedly. Possibly. There, I said it. Okay. Anyway, yeah, these are some really sick freaks, and then when he's giving his testimony a week ago today, and he's walking out of the courthouse, and the cameraman, the investigative journalist that's videotaping him walking out, he literally walks up to the guy on videotape and stomps on the top of his freaking foot like he had a roach on it or something. Like, who the F does that on videotape in public, and why? Like, even if the guy had done something that might warrant that type of impulse, but Colin Strickland has no impulse control, zero impulse control to do that on camera in public. I hope he gets thrown in jail. But he's like, oh, I was going to look him up too and see how much he's worth. Um, because you can Google anybody and get their net worth, and my guess is that it's in the millions. Um, and so he thinks he's untouchable. He thinks he can do that to somebody. Like, that's sick. And whether he hurt the guy badly or not, so freaking tyrannical and like juvenile, like toddler style juvenile. Like, get a hold of yourself, Mr. Strickland. Like, you have access to all this money, all these beautiful women, and this is your life. This is your life, is testifying in court, mumbling like he doesn't even know how to speak at a proper volume. Like, he doesn't know how to speak in court. Do you know how unreal that is? Like, you don't do that. You don't show that kind of disrespect to a judge. The judge should have found him in contempt of court, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm missing all your great comments here. The jury is in recess and deciding on length of time. I hope it's 99 years. I wish it was the freaking death penalty, actually. We don't need people like her in our community. We don't need to support them, keep them alive. But, you know, put a sock in it. You know, photographs of Mo Wilson reminds me of one of my best friends growing up. I guess that's why I get so freaking emotional. She literally looks just like one of my best friends. And if anybody did that to her, oh, wait, I had to say that because I started a thought and didn't finish it. So Caitlin Armstrong shot Mo Wilson at Caitlin Cash's home. So Caitlin Cash was one of Mo Wilson's best friends, and Mo Wilson was staying with her because she was there for a mountain bike competition in Austin. And Caitlin Cash came home, I think about 45 minutes after it happened, and found her deceased and covered in the red stuff. And I think she did CPR on her for like 10 minutes while she was talking to 911 and they were en route. And, you know, she didn't know what had happened or how long ago anything had happened. So it was, you know, there was no point in her doing that. Mo had already been flatlined for, I think, roughly 45 minutes. But she didn't know that, and she gave it her all. But I mean, my goodness. So not only does she have all that trauma to live with, but her name is Caitlin. She hates her name now because the one who shot her best friend is also the same first name. So she's just been going by Cash, which I think is cool because I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, and that's her last name. So that's her new name is Cash because her first name is Trash, right? Unfreaking real. So not only did Strickland and Armstrong ruin Mo's life and Mo's family's life, they ruined all of her friends' lives too. They'll never get over that. Cash will never recover from what she experienced. She'll never recover. She'll never be the same. So, okay, let's see. I did not like the prosecutor. He smiled and was too happy in the trial. He smiled too much. Is that the black gentleman? Because I only saw the closing arguments, and I loved him in the closing argument. I thought he was freaking brilliant. He also used Time Machine and Obama. Huh? I'm not sure what that means, Mark. If you want to explain. Sounds like a sad case. A really, really sad case. Yeah. So Mo Wilson had a lot of promise. She had only gotten into competitive mountain bike racing recently, and she was already like one of the best female, if not the best in the world, like quickly. quickly. Like, she had a lot of talent, and not just athleticism, but she was also super smart. So she had a degree, a liberal arts degree from Dartmouth College in engineering that she had just graduated, maybe 2 years before the end. So I think it was probably upon graduation that, rather than getting a job as an engineer, she got into mountain bike, competitive, professional. So she, prior to that, in high school, and I don't know about through college, but she was a competitive skier. So, the girl had all kinds of skills and talent, and just seems like a really bright, delightful, silly individual when you look at photographs of her and stuff, and it's just awful. Anyway, let's go let's head into the Maui before we go to Idaho, as we travel around the world in the sad cases that need justice. I mean, you gotta laugh, right? Laugh and cry. It's the same release. The defense went on a wild tangent and used time machine in Obama. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I loved the way the prosecutor objected a couple of times during the closing arguments. I didn't even know that you could object during closing arguments. Like, seriously, that was hilarious. And at least one of them was sustained by the judge. No worries, move on, Jazz. So let's talk about Maui, because I feel like there's some hope. More professionals are coming forward and speaking out against the the authorities and the way the situation was handled. So, Brush Junkie just dropped a new one, and of course, I will put the link in the description of this video. Um, so, in case people didn't know, there was a slew of employees with the Maui Police Department that resigned or retired shortly after Pelletier was installed as the new police chief. There were 7 formal complaints filed against him within the first 7 months. And also remember that his executive assistant died in a fiery car crash at 4:30 in the morning in a parking lot, um, 2 months after he was installed. I think he was installed like December 15th of 2021. I'm kind of taking a shot in the dark there. And then February, like the end of February, was when his executive assistant died in this bizarre, suspicious AF car accident. Um, single car, single car crash, 100 miles an hour, hit a tree in a parking lot, 4:30 in the morning, allegedly chasing somebody who stole something out of her car when she had gotten out of it for a second, like her purse or something, and then she jumped in her car and chased them down. And right, right. So around that same time, all of the long-term employees and part of even the command staff was dropping like flies. They were just folding. They were just like, I'm out. So some of these people, retired Sergeant William Handlin and former Assistant Chief Clyde Holokai, have been speaking out publicly with local news channels, and I'm so glad that they are. So they are pretty much putting in a reality check for the way Chief Pelletier is narrating this, that he handled everything appropriately and it was all done right. And he didn't even go to the command center, which he tried to say that that's not his job, that that's the assistant chief's job. And he was kind of throwing the assistant chief under the bus. But these retired, resigned professionals are now being very brave and speaking out, saying, no, this is not the way it's done. The police chief is always at command central in an emergency crisis like this, because you have to have that top rank to be able to give orders to other departments and other entities that like aren't even law enforcement, like maybe the fire chief or something like that, right? Or military. I mean, the slow military response to this crisis is another huge red flag, if not a series of red flags, in my opinion. Um, Sorry I'm late. Hey, Shan. I'm here for like 10 minutes before I got to go again. All right. Well, I covered you and Kylie first off because um, that was just what I wanted to come out swinging with. Oh man, you were quite an angel the way you handled yourself the night before last. I finally got to catch up on all of it and I was just like mind blown. And I was so glad that you were just like, I'm done. I'm out. Yeah, happy Friday to everybody. So, yeah, let's talk about the empty lanes of traffic. Uh, the the roads that should have been like the easy flow and access to escape from those fires in Lahaina on August 8th, there's now videotape footage that proves that those roads had no cars on them for 2 to 3 hours, you guys. Like the police had made there be no traffic going either way. They were literally corralling the cars into the danger zone. And Chief Pelletier denied that. And then he was presented with the videos, and then he came up with all the excuses. Well, the power lines were down, and people could die if they touched those power lines. Yeah, buddy, we're not stupid. We all know that. Anybody that's not a child knows that a power line is deadly, deadly AF. The power lines not only were deactivated, but there's now documented contact between law enforcement and the power company. Like, is it like 18 times that it's documented that they were calling each other, letting each other be on the same page? So, police were informed 18 times that day that the power lines were not active. So, that's a pile of bullcrap. It's crazy. I mean, we all know that power was shut off. I mean, that was part of the problem. But that's also what you have to do when you've got high winds like that. But the whole thing with the high winds having no high wind alert the night before or during, like, okay, let's say that your weather stuff isn't working right, so you couldn't get um, the severe weather warnings out the day before. You can get them out during. I mean, I live in Ohio where we get tornado watches and stuff like that, severe thunderstorm alerts. We get them before, we get them during. Like, because yeah, sometimes these things come out of nowhere, and all of the great technology can't keep up with all of it. Like, that's the whole problem with Mother Nature, much like people's emotions. You can try, but there's a lot of unpredictability. Oh, is Kenny here? Kenny Cole. Yeah, there you go. Um, so Kenny, can I throw you a wrench? Would you know what? I'm scared to do it actually because if I touch this thing and it falls, I will freak out. But can I have your permission to throw you a wrench when I'm going through reviewing it? Because I would love for you to be one of my mods. Um, Kenneth Cole, exactly. It's very high end style, man. A brand of clothes or something. Yeah, perfume, bags, all kinds of cool crap. Kenneth Cole actually is some really cool stuff. I mean, I'm not all into designers, but that's a good one. Not that I follow that stuff, right? I mean, he's right up there with Ralph Lauren. So, let's see. It is a collaborative effort to take land and money. Absolutely, Mark. That's what they're doing. So, also, uh, Hawaii Real Estate also just dropped another one, doing another testimonial of a family who is, oh man, a large family with some very nice property. The patriarch of the household is does masonry work. So he has this gorgeous rock wall that he built with like the most expensive, nicest rocks that you can get in Maui, which you can get the nicest, most expensive ones in the world there because of the caliber of the elite that live there and want that. So this rock wall was the rocks were like hollowed out, like concave, like pieces of the rock were turned to dust in front of the rock wall. It's some crazy, crazy stuff. But also, again, just getting the testimonials from these people of what that day was like, what their experience with um, evacuation was like, um, trying to get back to their property, trying to, recuperate anything that they could find, safes being disintegrated, silver being disintegrated, like, and then plywood being right there unharmed. I do know from firsthand experience, yeah, fire can jump around and it can look weird that one thing got burned and another thing didn't. But for like plywood to not get burned and rocks and metals to be disintegrated, the proof is in the pudding, right? Um, Buy from Kenny Cole. Yeah, screw that Kenneth Cole. Buy everything you want from Kenny Cole, right? So yeah, Kenny, you did a great job on your last live. I was going to put a link to it in the description, and I was really talking you and Mark up because you guys really kicked some butt. I will admit that it took you guys a while to get started. I was talking about that at the beginning of this video, that's actually like protocol and procedure in court even, that you always do what I like to call the butt sniffing, right? I mean, that's just what you do when you greet other people and before you get down to business. So, for people that mind, it's all fun and games, but I've noticed on YouTube that some people will get into your comment section and be like, "Oh man, it took you 18 minutes to even get started." Like, okay, I mean, if I had the technology, I would put at the beginning on the screen, like you can jump to whatever timestamp if you want to get straight into the heart of the matter. But it's we're all human and it's fun and interesting. And so I love all the back and forth. And, I mean, for me, that's part of the whole process. Um, Yes, even more impressive. Burning from the inside out. Yes, CB, absolutely. That's part of the problem with the way things burned in Hawaii. And then, the people and the animals that are not ash, that are like almost intact except that they're charred, but like their hairs on their head are still there, or the fur on the animals' bodies are still there. How does that work? Because it's a fire, the hair should burn. The hair should be singed. It should be gone. So, yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Thanks, Justice. Yeah, I can talk for England being in the pub trade. That's right. That's right. You owned a pub. I heard that part. For so long, the one thing I can do is talk. LOL. That's great. And see, it's funny because being in the psychotherapy profession as a psychotherapist in practice, like actually my approach to how I do things is to not talk, is to pave the way for the client to talk and to keep talking and keep getting to their own truths and their own answers. So, yeah, the flip side of it is I do have a lot to say, which is why I started my own channel. But I love hearing from you guys. Um, yeah, trying to keep up in with the live and watch the beginning. LOL. Oh, that's cute. I know, that's what I love about having my cell phone and my laptop is that I can look things up while I'm in a live or while I'm watching something. But just having one, it's been challenging. I've been mastering it. When it happened back in May, and that was when I got the new laptop because the old one got blowed up, and the cell phone got blowed up simultaneously. Huh, what a quinky dink. Anyway, I was under the impression that I was gonna have to be without both for a couple of days, and it was Memorial Day weekend, and if it wasn't a holiday weekend, it would have not been as long, so I was like, "Okay, I can do it, I can do it," and it turned into, like, forever in a day. It turned into a couple of weeks, and I survived. So, here I am a couple of weeks into this. I've had the cell phone the whole time. You guys see how graceful that's gone. But, hopefully over the weekend, I'll get my laptop back because, uh, I don't wanna keep having to hobble along like this, but it is what it is. You do what you gotta do. Squirrels, why'd you redact your message before I could read it? I am qualified youth and community worker too, but not been in that profession for many years. I loved that job back then. Let me reword so people can't say I said something I didn't. Fred, my headache hasn't gone away since either. My sympathies. I wasn't expecting her, but she is reblocked, so I don't have to do that ever again. Oh my goodness, Shan, you do deserve a gold medal. Before I forget, I want to say that wouldn't MC and Scammy know each other well from Parks and Recreation when MC was some type of director of the like youth program or something? And then I don't remember what role Scammy might have had, but wouldn't that be a way that they would have met rather than, or in addition to her daughter and her son socializing with her? So I think there's more to it. That's what I'm saying. I just thought of that in the last day, so I'm glad I remembered to include that. Yeah, I'm so sorry for your headache, Shan. You are so self-sacrificing and you've left no stone unturned. So yeah, you can pack it in. You gave it the good old college try again and again and again and again. And you did make a lot of headway. It's just going to take you a while to recover and sift through it all, right? Um, I wasn't expecting it either. She could talk the cork from a bottle. Oh, that's too funny. And then to come on stoned too, and to tell everybody, yeah, I just got stoned. So, like not the best time to be coming into YouTube land when you're pulling your shenanigans because it might be a little bit more challenging. So, um, wow. Not the sharpest tool in the shed, but certainly a tool, no doubt. We don't know till you try, Shan. Thank you. Yeah, and I thought you were actually making pretty good headway as much as could have been made. I mean, you certainly kind of cross-referenced and double checked and you know the information that you got is good information. Um, albeit not the information you were looking for. Megs is one classy gal. Kenneth, Kenny Cole, you have a way with words. You don't need to add the not. The sarcasm is just perfect. One classy gal. Very well stated. Very well stated. Okay. So, I think that That was everything I wanted to say about the Maui case. Let's see. Yeah, those empty lanes of traffic. I had not seen that footage until Brush Junkie's most recent video. I'd heard about it, but seeing those lanes being completely empty both ways, because really it should have been all lanes that are supposed to go both directions should have all been flooded with people going out. I think it was to the tune of 10,000 people that were trying to escape simultaneously and getting bottlenecked and getting corralled. Um, let's see, Meg should go to OnlyFans. Yeah, right. Um, let's see. I saw a chip in your mug. What flavor is it? LOL. A chip? I don't think there's a chip in the mug, but it's just water. Yeah, and I need to drink it. Hold on. I'm holding it for the longest time because I need to drink it, but I won't quit talking long enough to drink it. Um, if you're talking science, biology here, she'd be classified as a, I don't know this word, bent hose, a bent house. I'll have to look that up. Or yeah, I feel very thick at the moment. Shan, what is this? Benthos, Benthos. What is it? I've never heard about it. It was a trick of the light. Oh, did it make it look like there was a chip, um, or did it make it look like it was red wine or something? That's the old me. All right, so we are just approaching an hour, just hitting the hour mark, and so I do want to speak on the Idaho 4 case and then wrap up with my people. Thank you guys so much for being here. Please hit that like button if you'd be so kind, and make sure that you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, share the video with people that you think might like it, and have your notification bell on if you'd like to be notified when videos are dropped or I'm going on live. Remember, the buses were used to transport people and moved in Maui, organized. Yeah, Mark Molina. Right. So the school buses were used to get tourists out of the hotels to safety, which is just crazy. I mean, of course, you want to get everybody safety, right? Everybody, not just the tourists. Like, that's insane. That is ridiculous. Um, so let's see about the Idaho 4. I don't know that I've really explored this theory that I was thinking that I was inventing it, and then of course harsh reality had to start talking about it today. So I was like, okay, then I can't talk about it. But the theory, and maybe I have explored it before and I'm just totally not putting two and two together. The theory that all four of these people were targeted in the Idaho 4 case, because that type of precision was not haphazard. I don't think anybody there was collateral damage. I think it was all precisely targeted, and they could have been targeted for different reasons, but probably all along the same theme of the problems with allegedly Ethan and the Sigma Chi, the fight that happened there, the problem with Xana and the fight that allegedly happened between her and Dylan at a Halloween party. I don't know if that was at a fraternity or a sorority, but fights, you guys. And then the whole thing with Kaylee and Jack D being in a their relationship being called off and him not answering the phone for 10 phone calls and texts from her and Madison. Again, that does not reflect well on these people that were in skirmishes or disagreements or arguments or any point of contention. If you are at a point of contention with someone that something bad happens to, you are going to be a suspect. It's only logical. So, um, you know, DM being in a contentious situation with Xana 2 weeks before this happened, and possibly had that fight had something to do with why Xana wanted new locks on her doors. But the new locks on her doors is a really big piece of evidence. And again, the lack of evidence is also evidence. So it strikes me very likely that the 8-hour delay in anyone calling the emergency number was cleanup time. So, I mean, that's such a no-brainer. And, the whole frozen shock crap that was in the PCA, n ridiculous. I mean, I was one of the first people to buy into it and go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, frozen shock phase. Yeah, that PTSD is like that." I've seen people in PTSD shock, and it's very real. It's very physical and physiological, and you can actually die. You guys, I don't think I've ever said that in one of my videos. People seriously expire from PTSD shock, like in car accidents and stuff like that. Like they're not even badly injured, but everything that they see around them is so horrifying. This is why first responders and people trained in first responding just try to talk people down when they're in a bad situation like that, because you can die of the shock. Literally, like your hand gets smashed, and that's not necessarily life threatening, but you can freak out so bad that your life is terminated in those moments from the post traumatic shock. So it's a very real thing, and it need not be overlooked like that. But I do want to wrap up, but just talking about all four of them could have been targeted. It was not a haphazard situation. I don't think anybody was collateral damage. Um, but it also really begs, like, WTF with the two that were not harmed. Were they even home? Or were they in on it? It's a fair question. For safety in a party house, wouldn't you have ring cameras or some security or other cams? Mark, you are such an amazing voice of reason. Yeah. Especially a house of hottie chicks. Yeah. With a fraternity right there. I mean, n- come on. Yeah. Kenny says, I know one thing, the sight in that house must have been horrifying. I would never sleep again if I'd seen something like that. Yeah. Yep. Um, how any human can do such a thing beyond my train of thought. Right. I mean, and that's where I think that it's very likely that substances can be involved, because when people are hopped up, they do much crazier things than when they're not, right? Thank you for saying that PTSD and shock are real. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you guys, I do need to kind of wrap up quickly, unfortunately. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, please hit the like button on the way out if you'd be so kind. I'm not sure if that's what happened with the 8-hour gap. Yeah, I don't think so, because they were texting each other, and there's too many inconsistencies in their stories. Mark says, yeah, enjoy your day, everyone, and thanks, Jazz and friends. Thank you, everyone, and have a fabulous weekend. We're coming up on the holiday, and I know for a lot of people that can be very triggering. So take really good care of yourself. It can even be triggering for people who haven't lost family but have to hang out with family that they might not want to. So take really good care of yourself. And make sure that you're eating well and getting your exercise and getting your rest and just giving yourself the freedom to do what you want to do. Let's see. Yes. Goodbye, Kenny. Is it okay if I make you if I throw you a wrench? Do you mind? Um, all folks in chat. I agree. Have a great weekend. I'm partying with my 10-year-old and granddaughter. Bye, Susan. Bye, Outdoorsy Life. Oh, it's your granddaughter's birthday, Outdoorsy Life. How cute is that? A whole decade. Wow. Oh, and Kenny, yay. All right, cool. You'll get one. I'll bestow a wrench upon you. All right. Let's see. PTSD and panic are really weird things and very real. Scary how they affect people physically. Absolutely. I mean, a panic attack and a heart attack are like almost one and the same. And every panic attack should be taken just as seriously, in my opinion, as a heart attack. And you should always rule out, even if you know it's a panic attack, it's still a good idea to get medically cleared at the ER to make sure that you weren't having a heart attack simultaneous with a panic attack because that can happen. Um, all right, you guys, on that, take really great care of yourself. Make sure you drink your water, eat your protein, get your rest and your exercise. More important, I think, than rest and exercise, even, is just having like a relaxed state of mind, just really being calm and chill and patient with yourself, patient with other people. Um, Sending you light, sending you love. I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you kindly, and I will see you on the next one. See you.